Hello and welcome to Connect, the weekly podcast for the California MBA, featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo, CEO of the California MBA, and I'm very happy that you could join us today. Before we get to today's guests, I'd like to thank our 2023 President's Council sponsors. And these are companies that provide a tremendous amount of financial support for our association so that we can continue to be the strong advocates for the real estate finance industry that we are before the California State Legislature and our regulators. So I want to thank this year's President's Council sponsors, which include AmeriHome, Arch MI, Consolidated Analytics, Funding Shield, Guild Mortgage, Accelerate, Rocket Mortgage, and Western Alliance Bank. Thank you all so much for your support in 2023. We greatly appreciate it. And that brings me to today's guest. I'm very happy to welcome Robin Wright from Wright Finlay Zak to Connect. Robin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I was very happy. I know Robert Finley's been on here a couple of times, so I was really happy that we could bring you on to Connect. I do always I think it's interesting to hear how people kind of got into the mortgage industry. So can you tell us your story of how you got into financial services?
Sure. Well, my family comes from real estate. My dad was a small developer, property manager, my mom his partner. I got my real estate license at 18, my first home and mortgage at 25. So I was kind of dialed in to the whole mortgage industry at an early age. I still track homes while I was in college and in law school.
Wow.
And when the real estate market crashed, I happened to have also passed the bar. So it was the perfect time to transition into the practice of law. My first real job coming out of law school was at Shapiro Miles. That was in '93. And it was a one-stop shop for lenders. You know, we provided foreclosure, bankruptcy, eviction, and civil litigation services. My first position there was the foreclosure attorney. And from there, I was the foreclosure and eviction managing attorney. And that's where I met Robert Finlay, because I hired him out of law school to be one of our eviction attorneys. From there, I went to managing attorney of the office, managing attorney of the satellites, eventually became a partner and with Robert Finlay as well. And Robert and I and another partner left, started Wright Finlay Zak in 2002. And I assumed the managing partner role. 21 years later, the title and the duties stuck. And so did our firm's focus, which is providing legal services to the mortgage banking world.
That's great. You know, I've known you for so many years. I did not know that your family came from real estate development. That's interesting. It's a good way to. So many people have so many interesting stories as to how they got into this mortgage business. But that's definitely on one track your whole career, right?
It's destiny.
So recently, when you and I connected a few weeks ago, I was so happy to see that you have been nominated for one of the 5 finalists to win the 2023 Women in Housing Leadership Award in the category of diverse ownership at the 20th Annual 5-Star Conference in Dallas. So congratulations on that. That is incredible.
Well, thank you.
How did you react to that news?
Well, I was a little surprised that my colleagues would shine a light on me, especially since they know I'm not a big fan of drawing attention to myself, nor do I think I'm remarkable in any way. But I began to think about it from the perspective of what a nomination should mean to me and other women trying to make their way in the legal field and in the mortgage banking industry. So I started looking at some statistics of women-owned firms and women managing partners, and I saw that being a female managing attorney or managing partner rather of a law firm is not that common. About 12% of managing partners are female, and even less so for CEOs. And I thought, that's really crazy.
I know.
So if anything, I'm grateful that the nomination may bring attention to the fact that there's still not enough women in these higher level decision-making positions. Also with this nomination, and upon some reflection, there's a part of me that hopes that my role as managing partner influence some other women at the firm or wherever to feel safe and empowered enough to excel in decision-making positions. So at our firm, Wright Finlay Zak, most of our equity partners are women. Most of our partners overall are women. Most of our department managers are women. And I'm not sure what that says about our firm, but I'm okay with it.
Well, I'm very happy for you. Very well deserved. Definitely not an easy industry to be in, and the legal field is not an easy industry to navigate either. So congratulations to you. I agree with you that it is a shockingly low number of women who are in managing roles. And as you know, the California MBA, a couple of years ago, I started a diversity, equity, inclusion committee, really to kind of, as you say, kind of shine a light on the fact that we need more diversity in the industry, and how we can encourage and attract more people to the mortgage banking industry. I know that Wright Finlay Zak has also been involved in several national associations promoting diversity. Can you talk about how that involvement on those issues has benefited your firm, or what you've gotten out of that?
Sure. Well, first of all, we're of course certified woman-owned by the WBENC, and that certification in itself has opened up, doors to companies that are committed to a yearly legal spend to diverse and women-owned law firms. And these are companies, a lot of larger companies that probably wouldn't have given us a second look for our certification. So we're really appreciative of that. Another organization that we belong to and put time into is NAMWOLF. That's the National Association of Minority and Women-Owned Law Firms. And this organization's mission is to promote diversity in the legal profession by fostering relationships among the minority and women-owned firms with companies. And the companies who are members, they're also committed to advancing the success of the diverse and women-owned firms. And there's many connections and networking opportunities that we have access to with these businesses. For example, I believe that in order for these companies to get free registration to the conferences, they commit to 3 to 4 interviews of law firms, during the conferences. And these are great because, not only are we getting access to companies who are looking to expand their diversity spend, but it also helps us with our interviewing, skills. That we're meeting these companies and they're interviewing us, not because they're trying to check a box, but because they're truly interested in what services you have to offer, and they want to help you succeed. So the networking is great. It's also really nice to meet other law firms that are diverse or women-owned. So we network with them because diverse and women-owned law firms want to help other diverse and women-owned law firms. So it's a good experience all around.
That's fantastic. I'll keep you posted on this, but the California MBA, we're going to be hosting an Empower standalone event in California in 2024 down in Orange County in your area. And this is really going to be a day of bringing women together to just network and maybe some people who are newer entrants into the industry to kind of help start their professional network. So I'll keep you posted on that. But
definitely would love to
speakers, Robin. I might be hitting you up for to participate in that level too and share your leader. She's like, what am I getting roped into now? So what are some of the, getting kind of, back to, legal trends, what are some of the legal trends that mortgage lenders should be paying attention to right now?
Well, it really depends who you ask, at least at our firm. So, for example, Robert Finlay, my partner, he's dealing with a lot of business purpose fix and flip loans right now. And so common trends that he's seeing is trying to rework loan documents for certain details, and some of the challenges that that are faced with these smaller lenders. Two big issues right now: when and in what amounts can a lender charge default interest? That's an issue. And then also that Moon decision in BAP whether or not a lender or its servicer can enter into a forbearance or a mod with the borrower. If the original broker is not involved. So those are issues that we're seeing. As for compliance and regulatory, Michelle Rodriguez and Michelle Muerzwa, they head up our compliance and regulatory division. I call them the M&Ms.
Yeah.
What they see is issues regarding the LO comp rule, differentiating compensation based on in-house origination versus brokering to another lender could violate the LO comp rule. Failure to correctly round up figures on the loan estimate and closing disclosure. And then we still see clients getting dinged for incorrectly calculating or administrating odd days interest, a perennial favorite of the DFPI. Another trend, FDCPA compliance, including Reg F, updates to policies and procedures and avoiding collecting junk fees that are not authorized by the loan docs. Yes, the CFPB has recently identified junk fees as an area of concern, so we think we're going to see a lot more of that. And enforcement of long dormant second deeds of trust, that may be subject to statute of limitations. We don't see that as much in California, but in some of our other states.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be an issue. What I see a lot of smaller lenders, taking their defaulted loans to the foreclosure trustee, but the foreclosure trustee, they're not an attorney, and these small lenders don't have in-house. So they really need to make sure that they're following the pre-foreclosure rules, such as the homeowner bill of rights, and everything that we have as it pertains to acceleration. So we're getting a lot of that type of work. And then I'm seeing more fraud in the origination and repurchase demands because of that origination fraud. So we assist lenders with the acceleration process, and oddly enough, borrowers who've made misrepresentations on their loan applications still get the benefit of the homeowner bill of rights and the CFPB 120-day rule. So that's what we're seeing now.
So many things for the mortgage industry to keep track of. It is,
Yes.
I often tell our mortgage quality and compliance committee members, I'm like, I don't know how you're a compliance officer in this industry. It seems so complex. And same with legal firms. It's like to keep track of all the things that lenders have to be paying attention to. You have a great group. We have the benefit of having several of your staff active with our association. So I greatly appreciate that. And Wright Finlay Zak's been a big supporter of the California MBA for many years in many capacities, not only legal issues, but on our legislative committee, regulatory compliance as well. Can you share why you're such a big supporter of our association?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, but a couple of the more important ones to us are the CMBA legislative efforts, the regulatory outreach, and the educational content. Of course, the networking is also great. And you're often networking right in our backyard. I mean, literally, like downstairs in our courtyard, you're there. So, it's been a great relationship for decades.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. And you do host the best networking events, I must say. I don't know what it is, but when your firm hosts it, I'm like, oh, there's going to be 60 people there, like hands down. It always happens. Well, Robin, thank you so much for being a guest on Connect. It was great having you on.
It was great being here. Thank you so much, Susan.
And thanks to all of you for joining us on Connect. To access any of our past episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. That's it for this week, and we'll see you next time on Connect.